Can you go absolutely crazy for Simon Bauer?
Thank you, everyone. What's his face? I've forgotten his name. What was the first guy's name? I feel really bad because I know him as a person and I'm trying to mention what he talked about. Josh. Hi, Josh. We are friends, and I forgot your name. How does that feel? Josh was talking earlier about being a virgin, which is great because I am one of those too. Yeah, you all guessed right. And I'm 19 years old, and I'm 19 years old, and I'm a virgin, which I feel is like a lot of pressure, because like if I don't lose my virginity in the next couple of months, I'll be halfway toward a Judd Apatow movie. And also, I want to clarify, I'm not one of these technical virgins who complains about it, even though they get blown 3 times a week. I'm hardcore, okay? I've kissed one girl in my life, and she was drunk, so no girl in her right mind has kissed me. Oh, you didn't laugh, you just found that sad. Like it can be embarrassing being a virgin at my age, but you can put like a positive spin on it. For instance, I've never had sex, but I've also never had erectile dysfunction. So when I'm talking with a woman, I can tell her I am a very virile lover, as far as I know. I've never had erectile dysfunction, but I think I know what it would be like, because I've been through one experience in my life that was identical to erectile dysfunction. I was donating blood. Stay with me, everyone. And my blood wasn't flowing into the donor bag properly. What would happen is the blood would flow into the needle for a while, but then it would just stop. So then the attendant would have to come over and play with the needle a little to get it working again. Meanwhile, I'm just apologizing as much as I can. Saying, oh God, I'm so sorry, I don't know what's wrong. This has never happened to me before. And she's trying to comfort me. She's saying, oh, don't worry, it happens to a lot of guys, really. But as it keeps going, she's clearly getting frustrated, and eventually she just sighs and says, all right, look, that's enough, let's stop. I felt completely emasculated, and I started thinking about all the other men she must have attended and how I bet they had no problem keeping up a steady blood flow. And 3 months later, when I was eligible to give blood again, I didn't want to, because I figured she must have told all the other attendants about it by now. If I went back there, they'd all be like pointing at me and whispering like, psst, that's the guy who couldn't fill his donor bag. Marie said he had the tiniest veins she's ever seen. I didn't want to go back at all, but then I thought for a moment. I thought, Simon, because that's my name, Simon, this isn't about you. This is about saving lives. And so I went in there and I donated blood, and I don't like to say that makes me a hero, but I do like to hear other people say it, so I don't know if, like, maybe on the count of 3 you want to tell me that I'm a hero. Who's 1, 2, 3? You're a hero! Oh, thank you, but I don't do it for the recognition. I do it for the kids. I've actually been thinking about kids a lot lately because I kind of feel... Not... Grow up! I've been thinking about kids a lot lately because, like, I kind of feel like I haven't really done anything substantial with my life. I don't really feel like an adult, but there are people my age and younger who are, like, getting married and having kids. And, like, I don't harbor any ill will towards these people. I wish them the best of luck in destroying their lives. I hope that works out for them. But it got me thinking about how I don't think that I could ever have a kid. Like, not just because it would involve getting a woman to sleep with me, but because knowing where babies come from, knowing the pain involved, I don't think I could put a woman through that, especially a woman I love. Like, I don't get why the movie Alien is supposed to be so scary, because when I see that scene where the little alien baby bursts out of the guy's chest, all I can think is that seems infinitely preferable to what actually happens. I mean, that's a C-section, right? A C-section is basically trying to recreate the birth conditions of the alien from the movie Alien, because sometimes that's safer. And so, with that attitude, I just know that if I was in the delivery room and my wife was giving birth, I'd just be screaming like, "I'm sorry! I'm so sorry! I did this to you!" God, that's terrible. I was at the mall a while ago, and I noticed that they'd installed all these new condom machines in the bathrooms, and like I think we've pretty well covered just how little impact that has on my life. But I found it weird because I'd always thought condom machines were there just in case, but these ones were like actively trying to get you laid. Like they sold deodorant, breath mints, cologne, breath spray, all this stuff that I think would probably smell a lot better if you bought it in a room that was free from defecation. They even sold this thing called pheromone spray, which is supposed to give off this chemical signal that makes you irresistible to women. That belongs in a date rapist's toolkit, not a vending machine. I'm just glad they stopped short of selling Rohypnol and chloroform. Also, if a woman is willing to sleep with you because of some $2 cologne you got from the bathroom, you're going to need that condom. Sometimes I worry that that joke is sexist, and so I just like to say that regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, if you have lots of sex with lots of different people, I think that's gross. I'm an equal opportunity prude. It's weird how I have thoughts like that sometimes, because I'm young and I'm fairly like left-wing and freewheeling or whatever, but like, there are certain situations where I feel like my brain gets possessed by an 80-year-old woman. And not like a sweet, kind 80-year-old woman who bakes cookies, like a bitter, cranky 80-year-old woman whose husband died 2 years ago and her grandkids never visit. Like, here's an example. A while ago, I read this article about how the government was going to increase the prices on cask wine because people my age buy it dirt cheap and get drunk. And, or, yeah, exactly. How many people out of interest do that?
Is that just me?
That is, I'm surprised. Are any of you sober right now? Like, but no, all my friends on Facebook were like linking this to this article, and they were just devastated. They're like, "This is awful. How can the government do this to us? How can they try to save our lives and futures like that?" But when I saw it, the 80-year-old took over, and she was like, "Good, it's about time the government stepped in and dealt with this outrageous teen drinking. I mean, kids these days, they're listening to their rap pop music and smoking their ecstasy doobies, walking around displaying their shins like prostitutes. Disgusting." And then there's another situation where I morph into that woman, is whenever I'm walking down the sidewalk and I see like a couple of teenagers milling about, I'm always just like, what are they up to? And then like the other part of my mind's like, it's nothing, Blanche, you're just being paranoid. Her name's Blanche, because that's what old people are named. But like, she doesn't trust them, and then if those teenagers start walking in my direction, I'll actually get a little scared. It's embarrassing to admit, but when like two or more teenagers start walking towards me, my body instantly enters fight or flight mode, which for me is just flight mode. I'm not one of those people who looks harmless and busts out a bunch of crazy martial arts moves. I'm one of those people who looks harmless and then looks dead. I was in Sydney for a gig a couple of months ago, and when I was there, I kept seeing all these like really tall apartment buildings looking out to the ocean. And when I saw them, all I could think was like, wow, if you lived up there, I bet it'd be really hard to resist the urge to kill yourself. Think about it. Anytime you got even slightly depressed, there's a balcony right there, just beckoning. You'd stand out there thinking like, well, I'm up here. Most of the work has been done for me. It's kind of a waste not to jump. It's actually kind of rude. I mean, do you know how many people would kill themselves to get up here? There's the thing my generation does on Facebook where when people leave their Facebook accounts logged in, you'll like pretend to post as them and you'll post something stupid or whatever. And we call this fraping, which means Facebook raping, because Gen Y is a classy bunch. And the thing I don't get about fraping though is whenever people do it, they always post something obviously stupid and fake, like, oh boy, I love eating poo. And I don't get the point in doing that, because no one's gonna fall for that. The other kind of like frape post is the like coming out post, where you pretend to post as the person you're logged in as and confess your homosexuality. And again, this is something that everyone always sees through, but it makes me think about how difficult it must be to actually come out of the closet on Facebook. Like, I can just imagine this guy posting, being like, guys, I've thought long and hard about this, but I just think the best way to go about this is to tell you I'm gay. LOL. Who hacked TJ's account? Nobody. This is TJ and I am gay. My parents just saw this status and kicked me out of the house. Does anyone have a place that I could stay tonight? Oh man, TJ's gonna be pissed when he sees this. For the last time, this is TJ. Please believe me, I need a place to stay. It's starting to rain and my iPhone's almost out of battery. Rufflecopter. This is my last one. For a while I had a crush on this girl. We'll call her Emma because that was her name. And since I liked this girl, I'd occasionally think about her in a romantic / masturbatory way. Which would be fine, except that I have an older sister and her name is also Emma. And so, whenever I'd have these masturbatory thoughts, I couldn't just think about Emma. I had to actually think her last name just to make it 100% clear to myself that I wasn't fantasizing about my sister. Now here's the thing about that. I know that I don't want to fuck my sister. You know, I'm like 60, 70% sure of that. But I still couldn't just think Emma. I had to think her full name. In my mind, the risk of some kind of crossover was just too great. Now, obviously, nothing ever ended up happening between me and Emma. And I'm kind of really glad that it didn't, because what if we'd been perfect for each other? What if we'd fallen in love and got married and she took my last name? I'd have to kill myself. That's the only option. That would be the worst marriage ever. I wouldn't be able to do anything with my wife that I wouldn't also feel comfortable doing with my sister. And I generally don't make a habit of asking my sister if I can finish in her mouth. Maybe that's just me. That's it from me. I'm Simon Bauer.
Go crazy for Simon Bauer!